welcome to STUDIO125 Multimedia Complex. This is your local artist highlight. I'm your host, J.R. King. I'm honored to sit here today with our highlighted guest. He's shining light on a new wave of hip hop. He's a performer, a writer, executive producer, a father, and a hug. We welcome to STUDIO125, Joe Nice. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. How about yourself?
Doing great, man. Really appreciate you coming down to join us today.
Nah, thank you for having me.
All right. Well, let's jump right in. For the people who don't know, we're gonna get into who is Joe Nice. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Summerville, South Carolina. It's about 15 minutes outside of North Charleston. So, yeah, I moved to Aiken to go to college.
Okay. What college did you attend over in Aiken?
USC Aiken. Got my bachelor's in communications. It's actually where I met my wife, why I stayed in the area. And so, yeah.
Okay. In college, you had a radio show in college,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Talk to us about your radio show in college.
So, I'd already done my internship for school, but I had a frat brother who worked at Foxy, DJ Kryptonite. Uh, he was getting ready to move to the Columbia market. He was like, "Hey, it's going to be vacancy here. I think you should try to do an internship. See if you." I was like, because I didn't really want to do radio anyway. I wanted to do TV broadcasting, and I was like, we'll try it. What's it going to hurt? So I did an internship there for like 2 months, and I never forget. They had a personality. Her name was Isis, and for whatever reason, she couldn't go to a live remote that day, and she just sent me and the driver to go cover it. So I'm thinking we'll just get some clips or whatever. They're like, well, y'all got to go live. She calls, and I was like, well, who's gonna do it? She was like, you. I'm like, all right.
Cool.
So I went live. As soon as I hang up the phone, I get a phone call from the program director, Ron Thomas. It's like, who in the world told you to get on the radio and y'all didn't clear that with me? When you get back to the station, put in the application.
Wow.
and that kind of was that. So I wound up having a radio show from 2 to 6 and during the weekdays, and on the weekends from, I want to say, from like 7 to 12. And what was cool about it at the time, the radio station was still owned by Kathy Hughes. So it was a Radio 1 station, which to me is a big deal because, Black owned,
Right. That's right.
Kathy Hughes, that's a big deal. So, I like to think I was a part of like a historical moment.
Okay. All right. So you majored in communication, and then you're doing radio in college. So when did you actually get into music and started writing and performing? And
Oh
stuff?
man, I've been doing music. My mother's the youngest out of 10. And for a while, so I'm 10 years older than my brother. So for the while, I was like the young first cousin. So family events like, hey, do that Michael Jackson. Hey, do that
Yeah.
MC Hammer. Hey, do that Chris Cross. And, that was my thing. I was always fascinated in into music. And, I would say maybe like my father introduced me to like Crush Groove and my aunts and stuff. And we watched Crush Groove and breaking like around the clock.
Right.
And that's when I knew. I was like, man, the way they could command the attention of people, I was always into it. And as I got older, I did talent shows in high school, and I never stopped. I always worked on it. But my mother and father were like, you need to go to college to get your education. So I kind of put it on the back burner until I graduated. And once I graduated, I really went hard, started going hard with it. So,
Okay.
yeah.
At the beginning, you didn't do the kind of music you do now. We're gonna get into how you classified that. But what kind of music did you do starting out?
I guess you would call it your top 40 mainstream type hip hop, just
Okay.
mainstream stuff. Never was really violent or a lot of explicit lyrics, but still it was real, like party music or just stuff that I go through.
Okay.
Um, not to compare myself, but if I would say like in a vein, like I'm a fan of like J. Cole, Kanye West, not so much anymore, Kanye, but I mean, I still support the brother, but the
Yeah.
first 3 albums was real dope, super dope.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was so cool. I named those guys because it was like, wow, here regular dudes making music, not some exaggerated, crazy celebrity, just regular guys making music.
Yeah.
And so that's the kind of angle I took at it. And I've always had a love for like just music and old school music, even if I'm not doing it, just to be a fan, So
yeah, I have a love for J. Cole. And I saw a post the other day that threw my respect for him through the roof. Everything that he has accomplished, he still rides around on a bicycle.
Mm-hmm.
You saw
that?
that?
Yeah.
He rides around. He's so humble, no security, no nothing, nobody bothers him. That let you know if you don't get on the radio claiming to be the toughest guy ever,
you don't have to worry about. You don't have to worry about it.
Nobody bothers you.
Somebody go try you when you say that is what you are.
That's right.
So yeah.
That's right. Did you get married in college?
No. So okay, I met my wife back in 2004. We dated all through college. She got pregnant with our first daughter my senior year of college. This is 2007. And that's when I knew it was time to stop playing and get out of school, So I graduated, wound up having my best 2 semesters ever once I found out she was pregnant, knocked it out, got us a place, and we've been rolling ever since. We got married in 2010.
Yeah.
Excuse me, 2012.
Yeah.
So we had our 10-year anniversary this year. So we got 4 kids later. Been together for over 16 years. It's been great.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
I've listened to your music and I really love your music.
Thank you.
But talking to you, you put family first.
Oh, yeah.
And I respect that more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How do you go about balancing that, though? You got the job, you got your career, you got your family, kids.
Well, part of it, a lot of it's how I was raised. I saw what my parents did and even continue to do. Saw how hard they went for me and my brother. And, that just instilled something in me, wow, if it's that important to them, just all the sacrifices and stuff over the years. So I've always wanted, just like my parents, my kids to have better or do better and have more possibilities than I have. So the only way to do that is to put everything into them, and it's also like an extension of your wife. My love for my wife has me to be able to do certain things and to be able to prioritize things, because we balance each other out pretty good,
Right.
So just what's the use of having a bunch of stuff if you by yourself or you don't have anybody to enjoy it with you? You know what I mean?
You're right.
So that's why like suicide rates are higher among the wealthy,
Yeah. No one to trust, no one to really love you for
you. Right.
Everybody wants something, and that's dope that you can look at it that way,
Well, one thing I study Black pop culture and music so much, it throws me off sometimes to know that like in 2022, like so many artists still make the same mistakes that we've seen repeated, for 50, 60, 70 years. Mm-hmm. So many people complain about contracts. Whether you like him or not, somebody like Puff Daddy, he's like, never signed a deal with Diddy. He's a crook. His deal ain't no different than Clive Davis or, it's business, and you have to be aware and know what you're letting go and what you're signing. For some people, it's worth it. For some people, it's not. But you can't say, I use Puff as an example just because he was just honored. So I was looking at some stuff. But you have some of these groups who he spent millions of dollars in, back then videos were high budget, so $1 million video, bought him a house, gave him a chain. Okay, all that stuff you got to pay for. Now, 20 years later, y'all never had a number 1 or a top 10 hit. And you're like, well, Diddy owe me money for publishing. Come on, man. Like, if somebody's going to give you, production, put you in the studio, get your videos done, get your wardrobe, get you a house, Pebbles and TLC, I'm not saying I'm taking sides, but it's easy as an artist to say, well, I did this work. So if somebody is paying out of their pocket your expenses to get you to a certain point, you got to give them their money back. And if they put their dollar up, they probably deserve more money than you because they invested. Once you recoup their money, then do another contract.
Yeah.
But don't get mad at a contract you was happy with when it started,
Yeah, you get that first couple $100,000.
I'm good, run it.
Yeah. Not thinking about the back end.
Right.
That's the problem. When you throw that money in their face, not used to it, and not thinking about the back end. So you're right. That is a trap they keep falling into. So I respect Master P. I listened to the interview and him break down how he broke into the game,
Right.
and how he changed pretty much the game for everybody with
Right.
that.
Right.
You know, I've heard about those 360 deals. That's like the worst thing ever.
But it is and it's not. It depends on the type of artist you are and what you bring into the tape. Somebody who don't have a bright future, or they feel like this is their last ditch effort, nothing going right, that 360 deal might even save their life. You know what I mean? But every deal ain't for everybody. You have to go to it and say, what is it worth to you? Man, you can't tell me it's not some 17-year-old kid in the hood somewhere that a 360 deal would be the best thing that ever happened to him. Take him out the hood. He'll stop doing, well, hopefully he stopped doing certain things. You know what I mean? Like, you just got to weigh the pros and cons. You know, you can't just say it's evil because, and that's another thing. You see a lot of cats now like, man, I ain't no 360 deal, bro. You live with your moms. Like, you don't have a job. You wake up to play video game. Like, a 360 deal would be great for you.
Yeah, but don't you think that that's probably what you should get into learning the contract beforehand, though? Learning the business?
It's so many different ways to learn, though. You know, contracts aren't forever. You have to see where you're at. Like, I'll sign when I did my first album, the Southern Soul mixtape. I did a distribution deal with Music Access, which, you know, a lot of the top tier Southern Soul artists use Music Access. And, you know, they reached out and it's like, cool, because at the time they were offering me something that I couldn't do myself.
Okay.
Fast forward to my second album, I did the distribution myself. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I worked with a third party, but, you know, I own the majority of the album. So I found a better way to do it. And there's no bad blood between them, but it's like, okay, I figured out how to get the CDs in mass production and professional quality for cheap.
Right.
It's kind of what I was using y'all for. So y'all no longer have nothing else for me to go to another. If I can do it myself, I don't need you.
That's right.
You know what I mean? But like, even with that, somebody offers you a distribution deal and you can't afford to pay for CDs or duplication, take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, those 500,000 CDs might help you take it to the next level. So you just have to weigh what can you gain from it.
You have the mindset that regardless of what your situation, you're going to find the positive in it.
Well, because don't nobody care about the bad, because nobody go do nothing for you because you tell them how bad it is. So you got to figure out what can I control and go after it.
That's right. That's a beautiful mindset, man. That's a beautiful mindset. If more of our community had that mindset to just look at the positive, because I'm not gonna lie, I never thought about any positive. I've heard about 360 deals, but until you just spoke about it like that, I never thought about it like that. So having that kind of mindset is great, man. So I would like to get into your music, because your music is different. So you're a rapper and you're in Southern Soul. So how would you classify that?
It's weird because, you know, like, I'm really into hip hop, so like, rappers don't really look at me like a rapper anymore. You know, in the Southern Soul community, I don't sing, so they don't always fully embrace it either. So what I will say is the Southern Soul community has been receptive. I feel like I'm going after the same demographic. I don't like to put labels on things because music isn't made in a box. The same place you will hear Johnny Taylor.
All right.
They'll turn around and play Rich Homie Quan and Young Thug Lifestyle. And the old heads will get down. You know what I'm saying? I've seen it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't like to put it in a box. What I will say is I make adult party music, like feel-good music.
Okay.
And it's not all party, so I shouldn't say that, but it's feel-good music. And I think we're in an era now where we're so oversaturated with, you know, disrespecting women and the violence and drug use and, you know, I got this, you don't have this. Like, whatever, that's cool, but we had so much more variety, you know, in the 70s, 80s, 90s. There was just, you could pick from stuff. And I feel like that feel-good music to kind of just feel free and let stuff go and dance.
Right.
It kind of got muscled out of the picture somewhere. You know what I mean? And I just try to make the kind of music I remember running around, with my parents at a reception or a cookout. They
Right.
over there with the adults, and I'm with my cousins we're running around chasing each other. The
Mm-hmm.
music that was the theme music for that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
that's the kind of stuff I try to make. You know, whether I'm doing it to other people's liking, I don't know, but I would like to think, it's making an impact that it's doing well for me. So,
Right.
we just try to keep it pushing.
Yeah. I think your music is great, and I think what you're shooting for, you hit it right on the target. Because when I heard your song, Saturday Vibes,
Hmm.
that's exactly what I got. Oh my goodness! When my family come for a cookout, this is going on the playlist. I see some electric slide going on, just some good old
Yeah,
fashioned dancing. I can see the oldest member of my family dancing to it and the youngest member of my family
right,
dancing to it.
right.
And that's great, man.
That lets me know that I'm doing something right because that's a picture that I tried to paint. So for you not to know me
Hmm.
personally and tell me back exactly what I put into the song is what you got out of it,
Hmm.
then I'm doing it right because music is just expression. So I express myself correctly to you,
That's right.
you know.
That's right. So you also have a song with Nelson Curry named
Yeah,
Party Starter that came
yeah.
out a couple of years ago, man. I really enjoyed that one also.
So let me give you some history on Party Starter. Big
Okay.
shouts out to Nelson Curry. One of probably my biggest mentor in the game. Kind of
Okay.
took me under his wing, showed me a lot of things. I can't express how much I appreciate.
Right.
He's the first person to take a chance with me. Like, yeah, it makes sense. Let's do it.
That's right.
So Party Starter actually was written back in 2009,
Hmm.
and it was called Just Can't Keep Still. So the Chic Loose joint, Good Love,
Right.
I just straight took the instrumental. I was listening to a mix one night and I heard it. I was like, man, I should do a song off that. My mother's birthday was coming up.
Okay.
And my aunt has like a party hall behind her. She built like a party building behind her house, my uncle.
Okay.
So they always had these parties and everybody be dancing and like, man, I want to make a song that's gonna make everybody dance like that. The kind of hole in the wall
Yeah.
vibe. And my mother's birthday was coming up. I didn't have a lot of money that year, so I made her a song for her birthday. And and it went over extremely well. They loved it. But I couldn't do anything with it because it wasn't my song.
Right.
So I did an event a few years after that, probably like 2012, and all the music had to be clean. And most of my music doesn't have a lot of stuff anyways in it, but I had to clean up my show a little bit. And I used it Just Can't Keep Still. And I saw how the kids and the older people responded. So it's
Hmm.
like you had both ends of the spectrum dancing. Like, man, it might be something to that. And it's another story that really I'll go there later. But anyway, so I reach out to Nelson Curry because at the time Sugar Shack is doing big right now.
Right.
And I ran into him at Sky City after one of my shows. I don't know what he was doing there, but he was there. It was like a hip hop show. But I was like, yo, you the Sugar Shack man. He's like, man, yeah, yeah. He's like, who is this kid? Like, and I'm like, man, I'm a big fan. And I
Yeah.
didn't know he was from around here.
Right.
And so we exchanged contact information. I was like, yo, I got a song for you. He's like, all right. And at the next couple of days, I was like, you know how it is. You run into somebody, they kind of tell you something, brush you off. So I call him. And I'm like, hey, he answered. I told him the idea. He had me sing the hook to him, which I'm a terrible singer.
Yeah.
Nobody could get me to do it in public. And he was like, I want to do it. He said, but I'm going to tell you, don't BS me. Don't waste my time. He was like, it's one thing about me. If you say you're going to do something, then do it.
That's right.
Yes, sir. I met him, and I never forget. Shout out to Dub. He does the Jamp, the James Brown, the little kids doing the James Brown music. They play live instruments. It's always on the news. Deanna Brown is involved in Deanna Brown Thomas, but he actually teaches those kids, and he does a wonderful job. We went to his in-home studio,
Hmm.
called Nelson, met Nelson there, recorded Party Starter, and man, who knew that like it took off? Like, and it's still taking off. People don't realize that song originally was released in 2014.
Yeah.
And I'm still getting shows off of it. People still hit me and say, this is the first time I heard it. I love this song. And
Hmm.
It's just been one of those things, like the gift that keeps on giving, But Nelson and I have lots of songs together. We actually did an EP together back in, well, I don't know, don't get me the line, a few years ago.
What's the name
But
of that?
the Grown Folk Party Starter. So
Okay.
Nelson's thing was he was pushing Grown Folks Party at the time. I was pushing Party Starter at the time. So we kind of just pushed them all together. And that was my first splash onto, trying with Southern Soul, and it just stuck, and the crowds have really embraced me. Big Moochie actually reached out to me. I never knew him. Reached out to me on YouTube. He did the biker shuffle. Not sure.
For me.
So he was like, "Yo, I want to do a line dance for your song." It's like, bet, run it. Don't even ask, just do it. So I just been blessed to run across some talented people who believe in me. And yeah, that's a story for Party Starter though.
Yeah, it's pretty dope, man.
Party Starter actually has another super dope story, but if we get to it, we get to it.
Okay. I like to shout out Nelson Curry, came down and gave me an interview as well.
Yeah.
Really cool guy.
Brother. One thing about Nelson that people don't realize is he's not afraid to surround himself with new energy and young people to help with his creative. Like some people like, oh, I've done this, I'm this age, you can't tell me nothing. Nelson ain't that kind of guy. Like when we go to the studio, I'm like, here's the words, and I might give it to him. He's like, well, how do you want me to sing it? I'm like, oh, whatever you would. No, but how did you think I was going to sing it? And he like pulls that out of you. And he always told me, he was like, you already naturally have humility, but humbleness sometimes is BS. Like if you put in the work, you know what you know. Yeah. You don't always have to defer and hang your head down. If you know this is what you're doing and what you're going for, go for it. Don't let anybody intimidate you from that. And that's why I say stuff like that's why he's one of my biggest mentors. Like that empowerment. So
one thing I got for him, he's probably one of the greatest storytellers ever. So
I got pictures, like whenever we're on a show together, people he'll be telling these jokes, and maybe we're drinking, maybe we're not, I don't know. But I mean, I'm just laughing ridiculously all over the place. He tells a great story.
Great storyteller.
He is so much more than Southern Soul. Like people don't know how instrumental he's been in just the music scene in general. Right. I don't want to tell his story. That's his story to tell. But he's done a lot of things, and a lot of people acknowledge him behind the scenes. So
one of the stories he told us when he came was how he helped get James Brown's statue put on the stage.
On a pedestal. Yep.
Yeah, I thought that was really, really dope.
Yeah, stuff like that. Did he tell you like about Tony Mercedes and Deuce and like
Daisy Dukes and all of that? Yeah.
He just always finds a way to stay relevant. And I'll say this now. I see the Southern Soul community isn't really a part of the versus thing, but I see people like throwing up. Nelson got tracks, and even though you might only know Sugar Shack or Dance Floor, I put his catalog up against anybody. Like the brother has some good songs. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it would be great to see him get what I feel like he deserves out of the industry. But I do my part in trying to, I always tell him he the big homie, and we look up to him and appreciate him. So
yeah, man. Shout out again to Nelson Curry. Are there any other collaborations that you've been doing?
It's so much. I used to Nelson actually had a couple of radio shows. And I helped out with, some days I would fill in or just come in and guest host with them. And we actually did that at James Brown's old station, the WEZO off of Gordon Highway. Right. It's right off of there. But yeah, so a lot of people don't know, but that show, even though it was on AM radio, a lot of people were listening who listen to Southern Soul, but it also came in on the TuneIn app. So that's kind of where I came in at. Like Nelson was able to get all the local people like Southern Soul to listen on the AM channel, but because I'm young, I do the media stuff, was getting them in on TuneIn, and we actually introduced this. I feel like this market to Southern Soul real heavy outside of Mel Waiters and Sir Charles.
Jones,
You know, like perfect example. So you asked about collaborations. Nelly Tiger Travis, the great Nelly Tiger Travis, who did Mr. Sexy Man, which everybody knows that track. I'm the only person she allowed to remix that song. So I co-produced that track, wrote the remix, grabbed Nelson. So it's Nelly, Nelson, and myself on that song. Once we did that remix, Nelson set up an interview with the radio station. That was the first time they had ever met. Premiered her music that week. I mean, now she's been to Augusta, like 5, 7 times. Music is on every Sunday. Same thing with Big Moochie. Big Moochie had never been to Carolina before, never been to Augusta before. I never forget the Chills. He doesn't work for radio anymore, so it should be cool. Chills reached out to me. It's like, yo, Big Moochie's your guy, man. You know, so linked up Big Moochie. Big Moochie showed love too. Like I rocked with him at the Kiss Family reunion one year. That was super dope. But Gentry Jones. So I'm gonna tell you, Nelson and Nelly are the first 2 people to give me a chance, and I'm tremendously grateful for them because they gave me like Southern soul credibility. But then you also have Gentry Jones. So Gentry Jones is Neil Jones, who's like one of the greatest producers, engineers that you don't know about. Like he's done work with everybody from 8 Ball to he was like in-house engineer for Bad Boy during like the heyday. So like Mace and all these cats. And so that's one half. Then you have Tony Gentry, and he plays bass, by the way. Tony Gentry, another amazing bass player, but he also does vocals. He was a part of the Bar-Kays. I can't remember the time period, but like when that last song that was kind of big, What Grown Folks Do. He was a part of that version of the Bar-Kays, and just they have this extensive background in music, you know, and they still tour now with like 8 Ball and MJG when they have the live bands, you know, and Tila and all. So we have a lot of music together. We did a song called Rockin', which the Augusta Soul Sliders did choreo for. They made up a line dance. I wake up one morning, it's like 7:30 in the morning, somebody's tagging me. On the Tom Joyner cruise ship, they're teaching them the rockin' line dance. So I don't know how many people it is, but it looks like thousands to me, like both levels, they're playing the music. I was like, wow, I never seen nothing. Like, I'm not even there. Like, it just hits you different, you know? And so you remember there was a rap version of like the Electric Slide, late 80s, early 90s. It was called Shall We Dance?
Yeah, Shall We
Dance.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
That's Grandmaster
Classic.
Slice. What people don't realize, so when I did Party Starter and I decided to do Southern Soul music, which that's the other story with Party Starter, if we could talk about that later. But when I decided to do Southern Soul music, there was nothing for me to compare it to. I didn't know what kind of, like for me, it's all about the vibe. So if I make a song, and it's still to this day, I want to put it on back then we put it on a CD, but I want to put it on a playlist. And I want to put it in the middle of what I think it should be. So I can see if it flows seamlessly. You know what I mean? And there was nothing. Nobody was making the music. And then, you had old school stuff, but it still quite wasn't really, because you can clearly tell when you hear Party Starter that this is the South. Yeah. So that's what made it different for me not to be able to play like Rob Bass or Chubb Rock, because it wasn't that, even though it was in that vein, it was different. It was Southern. Yeah. Light bulb went off. I was like, I should use that Grandmaster Slice, Shall We Dance? The more I played it, I was like, yo, this is like a Southern Soul song if there ever was a Southern Soul rap song. You know what I mean? That's it. So I put that in the front. He had another song called Stroking 2000, which he sampled Clarence Carter's Stroking. I put that after Party Starter. What's crazy about that is, okay, so the Shall We Dance was like, to me, that's right up there with It Takes Two, Treat 'Em Right. I heard that at that same reception. I'm running around chasing my cousins. They were playing that. So, you know what I'm saying? the Stroking 2000, I used to go to this teen club when I was in middle school, and they used to play the Stroking 2000, and the girls had like a little line dance they would do to it. It's crazy how the 6 degrees of separation happens. So it's like, that sounds pretty good. I put it in the middle. I was like, yeah, all right. I hit up Grandmaster Slice on Facebook. I'm like, hey, I know you don't know me. My name is Joe Nice. I do this, whatever. Here's my. He reaches out. I was like, man, that's dope. Just inboxing. It's like, that's dope. He was like, yeah, anyway, let's see if we can make something happen. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, Grandmaster Slice. And that's how I was about Nelson, actually, at first, when I met him at the club. I was, not like fan, but just like, wow, honored that they would see me on the level. You know what I mean? And so I was like, cool, bet. So I hit him up. I'm like, yo, I'm thinking about doing a remix of, I had a song called The New Joe Swing, which is what Sean Dobie categorizes my music as. Yeah. He says that's the genre. That's what we call it.
I think you should stick with it.
Hey, I rock with it. And I love New Jack Swing music anyway.
Right.
And so.
But your performance is actually built as a New Jack Swing.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely. The colors, I'm an 80s, I was born 84, should I say that? I don't know. But so I grew up around all that stuff.
Hey, man, you made me feel old when you said that. I'm born 84, man.
So yeah. So the young tender age of 38. So I told him, hey, I want to do a remix of this New Joe Swing track. And he was like, I would love to do it. He was like, honestly, but my health isn't really good right now. I get my vocal strength up and I'll see what I can do. So that kind of dragged on for a little while. Then I had a song called It's All Right that Gentry Jones had produced. And I was like, man, I'm going to try to reach back out to him. Mm-hmm. And I did. He loved it. He gave me his verse. I sat on the song, though, for like 2 or 3 years. But like I said, it's on that album I just gave you. So I finally wound up putting it together so I can put it on the album, cleaned up everything. And he loved it. You know what I'm saying? He's like, him and his wife were dancing to it. And, they started playing it. Was it Switzerland or it was someplace? This DJ, I forgot his name. He reached out to me and we kind of did like a little interview thing. But, a lot of DJs, especially it has a real Southern Soul friendly sound. Mm-hmm. And so it's crazy because I was such a big fan of his. That's actually, I'm pretty sure I could be mistaken, but that's the last song that he did before he passed. And, it's special because like I got to capture that.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And
that is dope.
I always would tell him once we started talking, because we would have phone conversations, once we say, man, I was like, I know it's not what you were going for. I was like, but Shall We Dance and the Stroking 2000, like those are Southern Soul songs. I know wasn't even a category then. I was like, but that's what it is. I was like, ain't no way around it. I use it almost like a blueprint for mine, like to try to figure out to meet that energy level. He's like, of course, and nah, that's not what I was going for. He would always say, he's like, nah, I would look at you as the first Southern Soul rapper because you purposely try to do it. But I would like to take this time. So there was a song probably around 2005-ish or 7-ish, somewhere up in there, called A Homie Twist by, I want to say his name was Big Homie or Big Time. That's like that's the first time I heard something that sounded so Southern but grown folks, not cursing. That's one of the pioneers in my opinion. I don't know if that's what he was going for, but that's a Southern Soul song. Then you have Black Zach. He did the first Southern Soul album, like hip hop album. He's the first rapper I know that has an actual real deal album, all Southern Soul tracks. Much respect to Black Zach. And then guess what? After him, I'm the next rapper to have a full length Southern Soul album. Okay. Which is a Southern Soul mixtape. There are other guys. Jay Rizzo was good. He has a full album. But it came, I think, a year or two after the Southern Soul mixtape. But Jay Rizzo's real heavy in the game. He did a lot of stuff with Too Short back in the day. Okay. It's a lot of other guys. I won't get into it, but my music is not a gimmick. A lot of people when they rap, especially with the Southern Soul thing, they it's a gimmick. You know, the voices are silly,
Yeah.
the content is just I can't do that. It is feel good music, but it still has to have some kind of substance, some kind of meat to it. And you know, I'm still a rapper at heart. So it's weird when people say I'm not a rapper because it's like,
Right.
yo, I'm not singing. I'm really rapping, but whatever. But I get it. They feel like it's more entertainment. They take it like more serious. Some people do. And you know, I just been grateful to work with a lot of good people, who believed in me. And
Mhm.
you know, for Grandmaster Slice to acknowledge me and basically say, this is your movement, um, that was real dope because it really caught me off guard when he passed because I thought he was doing better. But
Right.
shouts out to DJ Adam T, which co-wrote and produced Shall We Dance with Grandmaster Slice. We collabed together on my album as well on Birthday Behavior. You know, he hit me up on the inbox and let me know what was going on, and basically told me, you know, keep your head up, and you know, he passed the torch to you, and
That's right.
you know, so it's all love.
Okay. Let's talk. Well, let's go back to the story you brought up a couple times. You say you had another story about party starters.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to tell this one as quick as let me see. So I was doing like more the mainstream thing. I had a project out called The Sound of Music. Big shouts out to my homie Sean Hemp. We were in a group called Token Black, and we did our first project was the Negro League, and we met as solo artists, but we respected and appreciated each other so much after we saw each other perform.
Mhm.
So it was like, yo, let's do an album. So we did the mixtape, and it was always the plan to like keep doing our thing. So he dropped the solo mixtape, I dropped the solo mixtape. And at the time, if you were in the Augusta area, you were in the hip hop, our name, you know, we had a really good buzz. And
Mhm.
I did a song called Shots. And Shots was really big. I never saw any. I performed on Mayfest that year. And I'm not saying I went anywhere and auditioned to be on Mayfest or paid anybody to be on it. Like they called, you know, the episode of Martin, they called me. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
So that was big. Perry Broadcasting had actually picked it up in heavy rotation at all of their stations. I think there's like 9 or 12 stations
Okay.
nationwide. And it did really well. And so all that kind of culminated into shout out to another homie of mine, Dirty Beats.
Mhm.
Um, he had these connections with Atlantic because he was doing production for the Hispanic rapper Cap G, who was in Dope. He had did some production for him. So check that out. He was like, yo, I could get you a meeting with KP. And for those of you who don't know, like KP, that's Quan Prather from uh Parental Advisory, which was a part of the earliest forms of Dungeon Family. But you know, he went on to be like one of the biggest A&Rs in the game. So like he A&R'd for Pink. I think he A&R'd the Confessions album, John Legend, like heavy hitter. I don't like the while we were meeting with him, I think DJ Drama was walking around in the background, you know, like, so we was there. So I'm like, yeah, all this hard work done paid off. Cause at this time, I'd also been touring the Southeast with Stereotype. Big shout out to Stereotype. Pierre, what's up? I was like, my hard work done paid off. I had performed with Shock G. He called me up on stage. And so I was like, man, can't nobody, it's time. So we listened to the project. He's just like, so I'm like, hey, I'm a rapper. So I was like, before you gonna let me spit something. I rap for him right there, you know,
Yeah.
the confidence, then let him hear the tracks. He was like, so I could tell you're a great writer. He was like, but what's gonna separate you from everybody? He's like, I don't get it.
Mm.
Excuse me? Like, huh? He was like, I don't get it. He's like, you got this big ass flat top. It's like you in here. I had my CDs because I was always into old school stuff, like retro stuff. So I had these CDs to give to him, but I had it in this big giant, like to make it look like a LP, like a vinyl.
Yeah.
And I had like all my PR stuff in there for, you know, something like. I don't like it. Like, it don't make sense. And I was like, wow. Matter of fact, what's so crazy is the same photo shoot that I used for the Party Starter mixtape, that album cover, same photo shoot I had for the album cover of this mixtape. And he's just like, I don't get it. He was like, probably should focus on writing or, work at it more, but, it's nothing I can do for you. I was like, wow. So I get up, me and Trey and Sean, because I took my partner Sean with me, Sean Hemp, because that's my boy. And we got up, Party started playing while we was walking out. Like, wait a minute. It's like, what's that? Party Starter. You know what I'm saying? He's like, nah, come back. It's like, this what you need to be doing right here, man. It's like every black person in the country can relate to this. We all got family down south. That's where we all from. He's like, you could do something with this. This is your money maker. This is what you need to be doing right there. I'm like, what? I was like, all right. I was like, so, me, I'm still cloudy because he kind of shut down everything else that I thought was. So I was like, well, what I got to do to get you to A&R my project? He was like, that's what I'm doing already. Yeah, I'm telling you what to do. So we talked for a little bit. We left out the whole trip back. It was a little quiet. Then we started talking. We argued a little bit. Because I'm mad he didn't like none of the other songs. I'm like, man, they playing this song everywhere. You know what I'm saying? People love this song. He was like, Trey, he was like, man, maybe you need to listen. I was like, man, shut up. You don't know nothing. Yeah. So he's like, I don't know. He said that's the only song he could really hear you. And we just kind of went back and forth talking about it. I said, you know what? All right, let's do it. And I went deep. Like, I did so much research. I listened to who everybody else was listening to. I went back further to find out who inspired them. Where were these people performing? Just everything. How would do a mainstream artist. I looked up everybody, and even now, like, I have promoters sometimes reach out to me or program directors just to ask me about artists. I get a lot of artists on shows. Don't nobody give me no extra money, but but it's all love. But yeah, since I had that meeting with him and I came to grips with it, as a underground or independent hip hop artist, is real rough on us. Sometimes they want you to pay to perform. I've never been a fan of that. They tricked me one time, but you give me once, that's it. I don't pay to perform. And or you do the open mics or you do the mixers and granted, all that stuff is good when you need it. But if you're a master of your craft, like, you shouldn't be, it has to be a separation. Right. You know what I mean? Or you're just going to be them, and I haven't, everything that I've done since then has been on my terms, contracts, W-9s type deal. And I don't do music constantly. I do it when it's convenient to my lifestyle and my family and when I want to. But I get what I want,
That's right.
And again, I know I will say this for artists who are trying to do, no, I might not be household or the biggest name to you, but don't worry about being on shows that come to your city or being on shows because so many other people are on a big, because even if you happen to get on that show, the people are not there to see you. So the crowd's not going to be into it. They might not even be there yet. Go where they want you. Build your fan base and go where they want you. If nobody's calling you, then you still have more work to do. Go where they want you.
That's great advice.
You never have to worry about being treated unfairly or like you're not this or not that. They treat you right when they want you.
That's right. I heard Kevin Gates say, I go where I'm appreciated, not tolerated.
That's right.
That's perfect advice, man.
That's right.
That's perfect advice you gave right there. Do you have any up-and-coming projects?
So I just released the Saturday Vibes joint with Marcus Allen. That's doing well right now, but we're just like a month in, so we're still on that. Me and Sean Dolby, we actually have a lot of music that we're working on right now. He's done a project. We got a song called Party at Home with Southern Soul singer Nikita. That's doing well right now. We're also working on an EP called He's the DJ, I'm the Rapper, which I got some some good stuff on there I'm excited about. So hopefully we'll get a single out for that real soon. But we're real excited about being able to express myself even more. When I did the Southern Soul mixtape, the first album, I did a lot of collaborations. I did a lot of things that would be more friendly to the Southern Soul crowd.
Right.
Not that I was forcing it, but you have to get your foot in, you know? So the second album is more featured around me, my co-production, and me rapping, more on every song, And so this one will take it even further because people weren't open to the idea of a rapper being on adult music. Like, oh, I don't want to see no rapper. He gonna be talking about this. He gonna be talking. Wouldn't even give me a chance.
Yeah.
And I still run into it sometimes, but it's getting to the point where there are enough people there who know, and they're like, "Oh, just wait," And again, I've been blessed, and just excited about taking that next step and really, really understanding. So, and another thing is, if you want to do something, you need to know it. You need to live it. So it's not a stretch. What you're hearing on the music is how you would find me at home. You know what I mean? Cooking out, running around with the kids, listening to music, chilling with the family, in-laws, uncles. That's what I do. So if you learn and you become what you don't have to put on or worry about somebody catching you off guard. You will relate to people. I think I see a lot of people forced trying to make a certain kind of music, a certain kind of song, and it comes off that way. Be the music that you are, and you can being yourself is always going to get you further because you don't have to make it up. Like it comes to you naturally. You run into trouble when you're trying to be another version of somebody else. Cats always want to move to Atlanta. Well, it does work for a lot of people, but Atlanta, why would I move to Atlanta when that's a bigger market and they already have people from Atlanta who I'm trying to sound like? So why wouldn't they just go with the Atlanta people who really do it? Like, I just never got that. I understand people have to move, you have to do what, but don't think of moving as saving your life or there's no magic line that ever crosses when things happen. Like people say, well, if I get $1 million, everything is gonna be all right. If I get this job, everything's gonna be all right. If I get this deal. Nah, it's a mind state and work you have to put in to put that stuff into place. Because if you don't know what to do with $5, you don't know what to do with $1 million.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So
That's for sure.
you can't look for that like magical, oh, this moment is going to save me because you will still be you know. So you have to get comfortable and have that mind state to put in the work. So
yeah. Earlier you mentioned something I never heard from an artist. And you said that you don't do music all the time. I never heard another artist say that. And you say that if it ever conflicts with anything you have going on with your family, explain how you handle that when that arises.
okay, so for one, yeah, like I do have a job. I do work. I have 4 kids. I'm a husband. So I don't have time just to focus on music 24/7.
Okay.
It just wasn't allotted to me that way. Even with writing music, I write it when it comes, but I don't force it. Um, I don't want music to be any more of a restriction than a job is. If I'm doing something and it's taking me away from something else that I want to do or I feel that I should be doing or it starts becoming a burden, then where's the enjoyment in that? I'm a fan of music first before anything, before I'm an artist or so I'm always actively engaging in music. I'm just not always being an artist, you know. Well, some people may like it, some people may not. Some people will say, well, you'll never get to this level. Well, I'm comfortable where I'm at now. Yes, I want to do more.
Right.
I would love to do more. But if it was all over tomorrow, man, I am grateful. I've got to introduce my parents to artists they grew up listening to. When Lakeside finished playing, the drummer gave my wife his drumsticks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how dope is that? Just I've got to do a lot. I had conversation with a Chubb Rock, and he was telling me how much he appreciated what I was doing. I'm good. Nobody can take that kind of stuff away from me. I don't do it to be famous or rich or everything I do is to sustain my lifestyle. I don't care about being rich or making X amount of dollars. Like I want to be able to treat music when if I'm getting paid this business now. So I want it to be just equal or more than my job. You know, if I can make the same money I make at my job or more, then yeah. If I can't, no. And I'm not going to work a lot of overtime. That's music or my job. I spend my time with my family. Like work is still work, whether I'm doing music or not. Now I love creating music, but like I said, I only do that when it comes to me. But as far as performance, that's still I love to do it, but it's still work. You know what I mean? So I treat it like a job. And as far as if it does conflict, then I got to go to the real boss
Tell
and like, hey, I know we said I wasn't going to do such and such on this, or how do you feel about it? Either she shut it down right then and there, or like I got a conflicting issue with a show coming up, and we kind of, as a family, worked our way through it and made sure the kids were on the same page. And if they're happy, then I don't have to worry.
Yep.
If I'm on the road 5 hours away and my family is home miserable, and my wife ain't happy, the kids ain't happy, I can't give a good performance. You know what I mean? So that's the life that I chose. So I try to my best to make sure they're involved in all those decisions. It used to be a place where I wasn't there. Like I would just take on stuff. Then it got to a point where it's like, you know what? Let's sit down. How about if I do these many shows a year?
Right.
And it was like, okay, that makes sense. And then if anything comes up in the meantime, then we have to work through it.
Address it at that
But
time.
I'm real picky about the shows I decide to be on, because for me, and it's worked for me this far, like quality, not quantity. So I'm gonna get my bang for my buck no matter what I do. Whatever it is, I'm going at it hard, to get a certain result. I'm not a big let's spin my wheels kind of person. If I feel like I'm wasting my time, I'm out.
Right.
You don't see me at clubs hanging out. You don't see me at bars drinking. You know what I'm saying? Unless maybe it's a special occasion, maybe. But right. People know, like, you're not going to see Joe out. Just how it is. Like, I got to be productive.
Yeah. I'm the same way, man. We grind until I get where I want to go.
Right.
I'm not going to hang out with you. I don't want to get drunk with you unless we're celebrating something.
Right.
Unless I'm celebrating something that I've accomplished.
Right.
Because I realize when you grind so hard, you have to have small celebrations in between.
You go crazy. And what happens, you'll forget. And you won't even realize, like, wait a minute, I did that.
Yeah.
And that's a shame because you should acknowledge that.
Yeah, it helps you keep going and gives you more motivation. Yeah. Just take that little break. Just that little pause, just to congratulate yourself. It could be a small dinner you take yourself out to, or it could go being hanging out or going out of town. But whatever you choose, you have to do that, man.
Right.
One other thing that I was really impressed by, I went on a YouTube page and saw a live performance. And you guys were actually stepping like the old 90s, like New Edition. You guys put on a hell of a performance. I can't wait to see you live. But tell me, how did you come about the stage presence like that?
I've always, like I said, I performed my whole life, so I've always been able to entertain.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, when you're so young and you got so many older cousins and uncles, you just take everything in. Like I do impressions of people and that, because I just watch so much stuff. So right. I just always was fascinated by, wow, what makes them smile? What makes them dance? What makes, and again, this goes back to like Crush Groove. That is a performance video. Like no Run DMC wasn't dancing, but that was different. They commanded the stage. People had to look at them. I was just like, wow, how do you get people to do that? And honestly, it came about as far as this, like me and the Soul Posse. Nelson wasn't always available to perform Party Starter.
Okay.
And sometimes he just didn't perform it. And I understand because he would have a whole set after mine, which would be much, probably like an hour. And,
Yeah.
So I get it. Sometimes he would do it, sometimes he wouldn't. And me, I'm like, man, it sure would help me out if he would sing this hook with me sometimes, get the end. But it was such a blessing because it forced me to figure out when I was newer on the scene to come on the stage, it almost be like cricket sometimes. And then you have Nelson go on, or you have a David go on, or you have, whoever the artist is. And how can I get my music? But they knew these people. They've grown with these people. These people been art. But I'm still that kind of. I'm competitive. I want to be on that level. You know, and I was like, I got to do something. I've always been a fan of the 80s, 90s stuff. And my brother is 10 years younger than me. He had finally gotten to an age where, hey, you can come with me. He finished with college. So shout out to the Soul Posse. A lot of people don't know. So my brother has his master's. D Boogs has his doctorate. So like eh, I'm gonna just throw it out there. We may be the most educated band in Southern Soul. I'm gonna just no, but big shouts out to those brothers, man. And just where he was at an age where he could help me, and I told him my vision. I was like, "Yo, I want y'all to be my scoop and scrab. I want you. I want you to be. I want y'all to look at some Big Daddy Kane. I want y'all to look at some Heavy D. When y'all ready, y'all let me know." They hopped on it, and man, I hate when they can't be to a show, which isn't often. Because they add such another dimension. My next level would be I want my own DJ that actually produces my records as well. Like I want to do everything in house. I want him to be a part of the group. Okay. Not just the DJ. Like like Jam Master J. Right. That's the one thing that I'm still holding out hope for. But yeah, so Nelson is responsible for that in most ways than not, because I had to figure out how to get the energy out of the crowd because I couldn't rely on using Nelson to get them. Now, if Nelson performs a song with me, then great. Yeah, everybody. But if he doesn't, what do I do? You know what I mean? Right. And what it wound up doing is I don't have to only be on shows when Nelson's on the show. I don't have to. Joe Nice is Joe Nice. Nelson Curry is Nelson Curry. It's a lot of people there's some rappers doing Southern Soul that necessarily may not be able to go certain places without the artist, the singer that they're attached to, because it's such a drop off. And if they do anyways, then you can see it. You know what I mean? Like no other rapper is going to put on that kind of show in Southern Soul and not in hip hop. I if I'm allotted equal time and respect, we'll get up there and rock with anybody. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how we feel because we take it serious, and yeah, that I guess that's all I say about that. But we take it very seriously, and I hate when I see artists who don't or jump on it for. A lot of people jump into Southern Soul, and you see it now because they think it's easier. It's like, oh, this is a little shortcut or a quick way to do this or a quick way to do that, but it shows, and it's not as easy as you think. You know what I mean? You still have to have some type of talent or relatability that people like. And at the end of the day, I'm not doing Southern Soul music or grown folks music because I feel like I can't do other types of music. Like I got a track I just did yesterday. It's like a mainstream thing just because I was playing around. Like I feel like it could go. You know what I mean? So a lot of people, they do it because they feel they don't have the talent or they're lacking and they think it's an easy way out. Like
right. Less competition.
Nah, you still got to have it. Right. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm not one of those guys. It's a lot of that goes around. So
yeah, you guys are most definitely different. I mean, you're Southern Soul, you're rapping, but you're performing. And I mean performing. When I saw you do the jump, I almost fell out my chair. I said, get it. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are really performing. I really enjoyed that.
I appreciate it, man.
I really did enjoy that. So for the people out here, let them know your social media platforms, YouTube page, websites, how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah. Look me up on Facebook, Joe Nice Music. Instagram, Joe Nice and the Soul Posse. Everything's spelled correctly. There's no slang on it. So Joe Nice and the Soul Posse. You can reach me on email at joenicemusic@gmail. My website is currently down, but it should be back up in the next few weeks. But that's joenicemusic.com. We're just doing some upgrades and whatnot. So
Right.
yeah.
You guys got the contact information. Make sure you reach out. Go check out this music on YouTube and all the other platforms, Spotify,
Yeah, if
everywhere.
you got it, it's on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys go support, man. I swear, if you guys are having a cookout, you having a family reunion, the reception, this is the kind of music you want to play. It could be an 80-year-old lady there. It could be a 16-year-old guy there. Everybody's going to enjoy this music right here. Everybody's going to laugh. Everybody's going to dance. And nobody's going to complain about the content.
Right.
That's the problem I have. I DJ, and I DJ for my family events. And I always get the complaint. The young ones like, come on, man, this music is killing us.
Yeah.
Then the older ones, as soon as I try to change it a little bit, hey, man, we don't like this music.
Somebody should be, with my music, I'm a firm believer. Somebody should be able to find something. If you like music and you're not just being, you should be able to find something. You might not love every track, but I hope you would, but you'll find something on there you like.
Yeah. I think they're most definitely going to find a lot that they like when they go search your music. I really appreciate the fact that you took this role and you're showing that the positive music can grow again. There's a lane for it. And you don't have to just follow trend. You can be yourself. You are unique. High top afro. Everything about you says 90s. Well, not today. When you're looking at your music, everything says 90s. And you're bringing that, let's have fun back. Let's not get into all this, what we're going to do, what you got. Let's just have fun.
So I'm a fan of, like, say, J. Cole, Kendrick. And I hope no disrespect. I get it. And it's like, sometimes even that is too much. Like why can't we just be?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why can't we just enjoy? Why is it always have to be something so drastic or like, I think some of my fan base when I was doing other kind of music, like, don't you do that. You go kill your career and, you got a message you got that you spreading or you doing this or you do. It's like, what better way to show, if you want to call it pro-blackness or what, than enjoying each other? What better message is there than that? And I'm not saying that's the end all to heal everything, but it's a part. Why don't we focus on that? It's always so radical. Like, let's get out and we go march and we go to mobilize all these people. And that's great. You don't talk to your first cousin. Why? You know what I'm saying? And great. Again, I'm not perfect. But I am somebody who really values family. I'm like the guy who gets along with all the cousins. Like, yeah, I know what you don't like about this cousin, what you don't like. It's like, man, but I'm the one you come and tell it to. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, we should work that out, man. We don't always have to be at each other. And how can we expect to make changes anywhere else when we're not loving our families or our neighbors or the people we see every day?
Right. So a lot of it come down to communication.
Yeah.
Just communication, man. We can just talk. It ain't got to be that serious. We don't have to mobilize everyone. We can just talk. And work it out, man. And just, like you say, enjoy each other. And I feel like that is a great start.
There's nothing in this world that's accomplished without a relationship. People so worried about money. If you had all the money in the world but didn't know the right place to spend it, it wouldn't do you any good. Like, the biggest deals are made on golf courses. They say it all the time, handshakes, ain't no money. And I'm not saying not to get your money. And here's another thing. As an artist, as a producer, as a DJ, whatever, when you're doing this talent thing, yeah, get your money. But you got to get to a point where it's not always about the money. Like, there's a bigger picture. Because if I come across another rapper or a DJ or producer that I believe in, but they're less than me, it's worth more than money for me to help develop them and for us to work together. There's no major artist that didn't come up with their producer. Like, they were even and they were able to make money together. Like, you have so many producers that want to buzz rappers in the head. I charge $350. I charge $500. I charge $1,000 for my beats. Bro, where are they going to get it from? They don't have music on the radio. They don't got no shows. They like, but you'll buy them Jordans. And then they get mad and say, y'all will go buy Jordans. And, well, at least they get to keep wearing them shoes. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want me to come to you for a song that may or may not hit. You don't have no resume, but you telling people they supposed to and better pay you your money if they're a serious artist. man, sometimes you got to believe in somebody and work with them, you know? And I'm not saying, no, you can't do that for everybody. But I guarantee you, when Timberland and Missy got together, they wasn't like, yo, you gonna have to pay me $500 every time I come to the studio.
Right.
Nah, we both got something going. We can build together. Certain things you have to pay for, like engineering and mastering, yeah. But as far as like somebody who's creating with me, hey, we could create together. And I'm telling you, I'm going to work my part of the relationship because
Right.
I get people on radio, I get people on shows. Like I'm going to network with people and help you build. And I've been, like I said, blessed enough that other people believe in me that way and they see it. You know what I mean? Grandmaster Slice, didn't know him from nothing. They never once said anything about money. Big Daddy Kane, we don't got it yet, but he was like, he was open to it. That was good enough for me. You know? So it's like relationships are important. You can't get everything with money. People feel like, oh, if I just buy this, once that money gone, then they gone.
But like you said, once you get the money, you still have to deal with you. If you didn't put the work in before, once you get the money, you're in a worse position.
Yeah.
And I don't believe in chasing money. I don't really believe the idea of money, how people hold so much power into it. You need it to live. But happiness and peace are more important. And like you say, relationships. And if you're chasing money, and you're just gonna lead you to places you don't want to go. I follow vision more than anything else. The
Yeah.
vision that's in my head, I follow that, and I believe like that's how God shows me the preview of my life. He give me a vision and say, "Hey, this is what's coming. I need you to put in the hard work, though. I'm gonna give you a glimpse of what's coming. Are you gonna do what you need to do?" And I just followed that because I believe that 100%.
I remember I was talking to one of the OGs at work. He basically, I was stupid when I said it. Like, whatever. Because at the end of the day, I look at it like, hey, we work in the same job. I'm just 20 years younger than you. You know, money is not real. It's a concept. It's an idea. If I don't have no money, but I can apply for a credit card, or I can finance a fence, or I can finance playground equipment, you know, just whatever. I don't have money, but I could go get a car. How can you say it's real? Like, it's just what we choose to put the power into.
That's right.
You know, because shit hit the fan, this would be way more valuable than money.
Yeah. You know what money did to our community? By putting so much power into money, they took away the power of the barter system in our community by doing that, because you wasn't forced to provide a product or a service, you know? So you can say, oh, I'm gonna just go to a job. Now you can just get comfortable and do that. But back in the day, before we had it like that, we had to provide something that you had something, I had something. We built the community where we can just.
And that's what I'm saying on the entertainment level. Like, by no means am I telling you to slave yourself away or give your talents away. But when you see something of benefit across the table from you, then y'all build together. Y'all share your talents.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're more powerful together. Because even if you only know 5 more people, that's 5 more people that you didn't know.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? But
that's right.
Everybody, and I'm convinced that with music, a lot of people are so convinced that they have to get it now. They don't have enough vision or belief in themselves that they can sustain it. So it's like, let me go ahead and get it while I can.
Right.
Then I guess if you think about stuff like that, then maybe you are pressed to hurry up and get some money because you afraid you can't get any later. But it's always gonna be there.
Yeah. If you are, I would challenge you to just slow down and actually reevaluate what life is, though. If you put in that kind of value into the money and materialistic things, then that means it's more. I ain't gonna say that means more than likely you're lacking in a lot of personal development in your life. You know, because like I say, it's an art to have peace. It's an art to be happy. You know, you have to practice these things. You don't just wake up and say, I'm happy. No, you have to learn how to be those things.
Good habits.
Yeah, man. So
I work at my regular job with several millionaires. I mean, you know, nothing crazy, but you know, oh my gosh, they've been working like 60, 70 hours their whole life. You know, getting all the overtime they could get. Don't like their wife if they're still married. Don't want to be around. The kids don't talk to them.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, who cares about that money you got? Like, you are miserable. You would rather be at work than any place else. That's trash. That's not a good quality of life.
It is. You know, it scared me really bad. I still also work a regular job. And this is a gentleman that I work with. He's been working there for 40 years. And they had a celebration for him. So they brought him in the conference room and presented him this small plaque. They put in the palm of his hand. And I was like, oh my goodness, 40 years? And you gave him a plaque?
Yeah.
Like, that's what his time is worth? Like, oh no, man, I can't do this. That's a trap.
You know, I was talking to God one day, and I was like, Lord, like, why would you allow me? Me and my wife, we recently built a home.
Mm-hmm. Congratulations.
Thank you. I was like, why would you allow me to build this beautiful house for my family, but I have to leave 10 hours, at least 10 hours every day? Like, why can't I provide, doing something near, like in the community?
Yes.
I'm not saying I don't want to work. I've worked since I've been 14 years old. I've been at this job for 13 years. I'm not afraid to work. It's like, it just don't make sense to me.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, we had a job posting at work for a job like more than 50% telework. And it was a I put in for it, and but just like, you have to think stuff into fruition, but you also have to believe in that, again, being real with yourself. Like, it will be provided for. I feel like if you want it and you put enough energy into it and you're serious, you're praying, like, it's gonna be allotted to you. You're gonna find a way to get to it.
Yeah.
Unless you like 50 and you want to be an astronaut, like stuff like that you can't do. But
yeah, man, it's abundance of everything.
Yeah.
And some people say prayer does it. The non-religious people say that, like, it's a law of attraction. I just believe that it's just energy. Like, you put out that energy and you have to get something in return.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You just have to. And I believe in that 1%, the power of manifestation.
And that's what I tell when cats ask me, even though they're never serious, like, what do I need to do? How you do this? Because first of all, everybody is always looking for somebody to save them, just like that magic moment. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, like, people would tell me, don't work with Nelson. Nelson ain't this or Nelson ain't that. He think he this, he think. But the problem is they expect Nelson to do something for them because they see him in a certain way. Yeah. So I think what makes our relationship work, I'm grateful to know him, but I do my own work. I don't expect for you to save me or do anything for me. Right. Anything we get kicking together is bonus. You know what I mean? Like, they don't realize that people are busy supporting themselves and their families. So I'm supposed to stop supporting, or Nelson's supposed to stop supporting his wife, his kids, you know what I'm saying, to help put his time and money into you. Yeah. Like, that's selfish. That is. To think somebody should, you have to want to do for yourself. But I tell these young guys, I'm like, yo, what do you want to do? Like, what you mean? What? Do you want to be on the radio? Yeah, I want to be on the radio. Okay. Well, these are the things you have to do before you can even be considered to be in radio. Once you get this done, then come back and ask me if I can help you. Then come back and say, can I send this to a DJ or to a DJ pool or to a program director? That's right. I want to be on shows. Well, what show you want to be on? I can't think. I want to be on the Kiss Family Reunion. Well, what kind of artists do they put on the Kiss Family Reunion? You'll never be able to perform on it. So you got a bad, you know what I mean? Yeah. Or you're going to have to start making this kind of music. You're going to have to get these DJs to start playing that music, build relationships with them. You might have to do different things. I can't, but right. There are legitimate stuff you can do to get to where you want, other than saying, what can you do to help me? Like, but map it out and look at it. See what you have to do. I never forget when I did the Southern Soul mixtape, I had this big poster board. Right. I had all this stuff written down that I needed to do. Then I had what I wanted to accomplish from it. How many shows I wanted to do. How many videos was it going to take to...
Like a vision board almost.
And did it.
Right.
Because I can see it, but if I just kept it all in here, I just pile another idea on top of that one.
That's right.
People don't realize just by writing something down is very powerful to see it.
Very powerful.
Just like saying stuff is powerful.
Yeah. The power of the word.
So
it's the power of your thoughts, Power is your word. And you just gotta learn how to master that. And the more you learn how to master that, the easier life becomes. The less stress you are, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know.
man. Yeah. This has been great, man.
Yes, sir.
You have
Yes,
a
sir.
beautiful mind on your head, brother.
I appreciate it.
You have a
Likewise.
beautiful, beautiful mind. The way you think is so positive. You know, it's so positive if more people can just have that positive mind state. You know, life is beautiful and there's really nothing to complain about. If you really break life down into what life is really three things that you need: water, food, and shelter. Everything else we put pressure on ourselves. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Everything else you really don't need. So if you really just break it back down to what life really is and then just build from there,
Yeah.
you know?
You overwhelm yourself with so many inputs. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like my cousins. We had a birthday. No, we were celebrating one of my cousins because she just became a principal, and we were just talking about some stuff. And teachers get paid monthly. Then I was like, well, I get paid monthly now too. It's like, man, cuz I don't know how y'all do that monthly. I need my money every. I'm like, bro, I pay all of my bills at the beginning of the month. I have no bills to worry about. Like, granted, yeah, at the end of the month, sometimes I wish I had a little more money, but everything I need is taken care of the first day of the month.
Right.
To me, that's like a calmness or a relief of, I don't know. Everything has its positives, but I'm like,
Right.
if I know my light bill is paid, my mortgage is paid, my car note is paid,
Mm-hmm.
I, I don't have to worry about nothing else. I could get through whatever else I need to get.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, food, of course.
Yeah. But another way though, somebody can just look at it like, or you can actually just break it down yourself.
Pay
You
yourself.
pay yourself that. If you instead of you get the lump sum, well break that down into 4 pieces.
Yeah.
And then you got your 4 paychecks. It's no different. You know, that's just the mindset.
But that goes back to the mindset of, if you don't know how to treat $5, you won't know how to treat a million. So it's not like, oh, if I win this lottery tonight, everything's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Nah, you gonna fuck this. You gonna mess that money up.
You're gonna make somebody else rich as hell. That's what you're gonna do, because that money's going right out. And that's one of the things that's wrong with our community.
First thing I do,
how to
if
handle our money.
I got some ridiculous amount, pay off all my bills that I currently have.
Mm-hmm.
Then buy some land that I can pass down to my kids.
That's right.
Yeah.
I
ain't gonna lie, I ain't really thought a lot further than that, because that's a lot. You know what I mean? But I don't have visions of, oh, if I got this big check, I want to get this car, I want to get this chain, I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna be like, man, let's hurry up and go pay this mortgage off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, but not enough of us think like that.
If I hit it, well, I'm gonna say when I hit it big like that,
right?
I don't really want a lot of materialistic things. I want freedom. I want my time back. I want to be able to wake up in the morning and do what I want to do. I want to be able to wake up in the morning and say, you know what? I'm finna grind straight for 12 hours. Or I'm gonna just lay here for 12 hours, or if I want to go to Paris, that's what I want. That's what I see. I see the freedom. Jobs are traps and they take up so much of our time. And then you take up so much of your time, and then you also have to give your energy. So by the time you work 8 to 10 to 12 hours a day, 5, 6 days a week, you don't have the energy for yourself, for your passions. You're giving it away. And then you have your family and stuff. You have to balance all of that. I want my time and my energy back. And I don't want to give that to someone else to make them rich and
That's
for
right.
them to sit home and do what I'm wishing I could do.
Man, ideally, if I had it my way, I would open up like a retro Black entertainment store.
Okay.
Where we like specialized in like Black movies,
okay,
old Black magazines and posters. But like with the movies, I would want to rent them. Like we have no rental stores. Like that was an event. Going to the video store on Saturdays.
Man, it's going to be a weekend.
Yeah, right. So it's like focus on the Black experience. Like just have a store dedicated to Black entertainment. Yeah, we have music in there too, vinyl records, maybe coffee or something. But to run that kind of shop, that's like my dream.
It'll be like a museum though. It'll be, because the kids, you're gonna have a vinyl and be like, what the hell is that?
What is this?
A cassette tape? What the hell is that, man? So it'll be something like a museum to the younger kid. To me, I walk in there and be like, oh my goodness, this is great.
So It would be, to me, I would want it to be like how Best Buy used to be. Like 10, 15 years ago, I could go in Best Buy just at the entertainment section. I could spend like an hour, 2 hours just looking through the movies, looking through the music. And all I would do was kind of shape it up a little bit more so it could be, for our demographic.
That'd be dope. I would support that idea.
I would actually, I would call it when and where.
That's dope.
Because I would also want clothing, like old school clothing, or like T-shirts of old, artists, and that kind of.
You gotta leave some stuff back there.
Yeah.
Don't bring when they already brought them back. The little shorts, they got those back already.
Yeah.
Don't bring back when guys. Yeah, when the guy wearing the halter tops.
Yeah, the shark earrings.
Yeah. Oh, what's the haircut with it all pulled to the back and then there's fat back there?
I
forget. My stepdaddy, he still got it. Is it Shag? It ain't the
Shag.
It is a Shag?
Shag.
He still got it. He had it about 40, 50 years, man.
Biker shorts.
Yeah. All the things that I'm saying don't bring back, I had to grow up witnessing these. I hated it. He had the Shag with the half a shirt with the little shorts. He's walking.
Did the shirt have a bunch of holes in it?
Yes. Yes.
Remember the workout gloves?
Yeah, man.
Oh,
some stuff.
Man. Yeah, we can leave some stuff.
You leave that. Bring the great things, but yeah, man, this have been great, man. Like I say, your music is great. The way you look at your family, the way you handle your business, man. I really think once you're not into entertaining and all that, I actually think that you'd be a great manager. For the youth, for the people that's coming up, the way that your mind is set. You're not looking to really just snatch away a lot from them. They can gain a lot from your knowledge.
If it wasn't for having kids right now, maybe kids require so much of your time, and to manage somebody, that's kind of like your kid. If you're serious about it, you're going to be really connected.
How old are your kids?
I got 14, 9, 6, and 4.
Oh, you got a long way to go.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, our youngest is 14. We almost done.
Oh, man.
We raised 7.
Nice. Congratulations on that. How about that?
How about that? Yeah. It's our freedom. That's why you hit me. I want my time back. That's why. It's this close. But it's really been a pleasure. I appreciate you coming, brother. It's really been a pleasure to talk to you. But we're gonna wrap this up. This has been another episode of your local artist highlight. I'm your host, J.R. King. Again, this is Joe Nice.
Nice.